Hi, my name is Jeremy. This is Red Means Recording. It's April 5th, and this is going into the 5th or 6th week of quarantine. Pretty weird times. I think we can all agree. I've got a Roland MC707 right here that I'm supposed to be learning on loan from Roland, but I just can't focus at all on that, even though it seems like it's a really cool device. So I was looking at my bookshelf, and I was like, what if I did a video talking about books on my bookshelf that I like? Yeah, that's what we've come to in this time. I got nothing. So welcome to Books on Red Means Recording's bookshelf. Let's get started. First up is this book called Catalog of Strategies from NL Design. I bought this in a used bookstore, I believe in Portland. And it's so cool. It's really, really awesome inspiration for all kinds of sort of minimal maximalist design. Look at this. Look, this is so cool. Is it in frame enough? It's just one of those things that you flip through and you're like, what could I do based on these designs? Good palettes. Good ideas. Some really cool shit. Kind of reminds me of the Zoo Station era U2 stuff going into Zooropa, coming out of Octoon Baby. Some of it's a little dated looking, but I don't know. It still feels really fresh to me in a lot of ways. So that's Catalog of Strategies from NL Design. This can go away. This is Beasts of Burden by Evan Dorkin and Jill Thompson. I bought this at a used bookstore, probably Portland. It is really cool. It's about a group of talking animals, talking pets, that are protecting their neighborhood from supernatural threats. And I don't want to spoil it for you. It's really good. And actually, there's some sad parts in it, too. It's really cool. I love animal books. Zombie dogs. I love supernatural stuff, too. So this was a really, really fun one. And I recommend it if you're into graphic novels. It's very original and very, very cool. Still hanging out in the art world, we got the music library. I bought this online, I think, because I needed inspiration for album art. And this is just this gigantic collection of vinyl covers and vintage covers from all kinds of stuff. And I've actually never used it for inspiration. I should probably fix that. I should probably keep it in my studio so that when I'm designing a cover, I can look at this and feel inspired. But yeah, there's an amazing history of design when it comes to vinyl albums and stuff like that. And I'm in love with almost everything I see in here. There's just something about it. Also, really, really good palettes. Just making maybe some color palettes from some of this stuff would be kind of cool. Electric Banana. Yeah. So this is the music library. Really, really cool. And it's hardcover, which is nice. Feels good. Yeah, cool shit. Look at this motherfucker. I'm a fan of this guy right here. Ooh, synthesizers. Let's talk about Infinite Jest. Where's my copy of Infinite Jest? Here it is, baby. I want to say that I'm a fan of David Foster Wallace. I really, really like his nonfiction. I bought Infinite Jest probably as... I don't know if I bought it as the first book of his. It's been through some shit. You can see it's almost completely faded out here. I think I've probably gotten about like a quarter, maybe halfway through this book. And then my brain turned off. But that's because I have and had no ability to concentrate forever. Look, I even bought a reader's guide to it. Guess what I also haven't read? The Infinite Jest Reader's Guide. So this sits on my shelf mocking me and all of its footnotes and everything. And that's just my fault. I mean, I like I said, I really, really like David Foster Wallace's nonfiction, but his fiction sometimes is difficult for me to plow through. So I recommend his book of essays and stuff like that. But I still haven't done this, and it makes me sad. And this is a second level of mocking me about it. So, yeah, sorry, David. Hope you're doing well. Let's talk about another disappointment, which is probably my fault. Vandermeer wrote the Area X trilogy, Annihilation, Acceptance, and Control. I don't know if that's the right order of the whole thing. I got this at Powell's. Hey. And I thought I would like his other work. I don't. I found this really, really tedious. This is how far I got through it. Page 85? That's it? I don't know. It didn't really resonate with me. The writing's baroque. It just kind of didn't hit as well as I thought it would. I think my friend was telling me that he's got another book with like a space fox in it or something, so maybe I'll give that a try. But City of Saints and Madmen just did not hit with me, while the Area X trilogy was just fantastic, and I highly recommend it to anyone who is into sort of weird science fiction. It's one of my favorite series of books in the whole world. Thanks, Jeff Geindermeer. Let's talk about more weird shit. I love H.P. Lovecraft's world. I don't like his writing all that much. So I'm always on the lookout for books that are in the H.P. Lovecraft universe, but not H.P. Lovecraft written. None of his stuff really hits the way that he intended it to for me. So, these inspired by H.P. Lovecraft series. There's a whole bunch of these. Really cool art on this too. Edited by S.T. Joshi, who is a fantastic author as well. I just really, really like these little anthology series because you get a good variety of authors. You get them in the genre of the mythos and the weird, scary world that H.P. Lovecraft came up with, but you don't have to deal with H.P. Lovecraft himself, which is always a plus for me. So if anyone has any good recommendations on shit like this, let me know, because I always will read more of this kind of stuff. And then underneath that, oh my gosh, my dad sent me a bunch of my old books. And when I was a kid, I read the fuck out of Dragonlance, this whole series of Dragons of blah, 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 whatever season they were from. And man, I got deep into this stuff. It was big influential to me when I was a kid. So it's just looking at this makes me feel things quite a nostalgia trip. I should read this again at some point, but I'm afraid that it's just going to fall apart if I do. Let's talk about books that actually might help you as someone who looks at my channel. A lot of people ask me about how to get started with mixing or stuff like that, and it's really hard to kind of convey how to do something like that broad when you've been doing it sort of your own way for a while. The best I can tell you is just to listen a lot. But if you want to read, if you like to read, this book, which has gone through a number of different iterations, the Modern Recording Techniques Handbook. I mean, look how old this is. It's freaking old school Mac here for their MIDI thing. This is going to go through tons and tons of stuff to explain literally everything about recording, how to hear, how you hear, the way, just the entire concept of sound, microphones, tape recorders, which probably a lot of you aren't going to be dealing with anymore. I'm assuming the different editions of this are probably a little bit more updated at this point, but just it really, 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 really thorough resource. So if you're going to buy one book to get started in terms of reading about recording, I'm going to recommend this one. And then we have the audio dictionary, and there's probably a new edition. I got both of these books when I was going to school way back in the day. So this is exactly what it says, a dictionary. And if you've ever had any questions about any concepts regarding audio stuff and you don't have Wikipedia in front of you, or maybe you just you want to take a poop and you want to read through, audio stuff, this is a good resource as well. It's just one of those things that's going to be really, really dense in information and very, very useful if you, don't have a computer in front of you and you want to learn about various audio things. So these two things together, I would recommend doing audio stuff. Brian Lee O'Malley is the person that did Scott Pilgrim, and a friend got me, I bought this for myself at a comic book store in San Francisco. And it is another sort of magical realism sort of thing, in the way that Scott Pilgrim was. Really, really good art style, really, really cool art style about chefs and the struggle that they are going through, and it's magical realism and fantasy and just really, 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 really cool. And I'm glad I have it in hardback because it's just one of those things that I keep on coming back to and reading at least once a year. I think I almost like it better than Scott Pilgrim, to be honest. It's a little more mature than Scott Pilgrim is. So thanks, Brian Lee O'Malley. Oh yeah, the Butt Book. I don't know if there is another edition of this. I'm not going to open this up because it's kind of not safe for work. Butt Magazine was a gay subculture magazine. A lot of really, really good interviews with people. The interview with Matmos here on page 420 Nice. Oh, whoop. Demonetization. Man, this is not safe for work at all. Okay, I'm just gonna do this because they're naked. So Matt Mouse is a really, really amazing gay duo they were in San Francisco when I lived there, and weirdly they moved to Baltimore when I moved to Baltimore. They have done a lot of really, really cool experimental albums, and they work with Bjork on one of her albums as well. This interview is one of the best things I have ever read. If you can look this up, I'm still not covering it. This interview is one of the best things I've ever read. If you can look this up online or find this interview, I hella recommend reading it because it's just really, really funny to read about these guys' experience, and it's in this particular context. And there's just a lot of really, really good stuff in Butt Book. I'm gonna have to blur everything here. I just realized that his asshole is showing. David Peterson and Mouse Guard. God bless Mouse Guard. This is one of the coolest series I've ever read, and I need to get more of the books. High fantasy in a world where everything is sort of the size that it would be in real life. And there's mice, and they're really tough and awesome, and they fight various larger creatures. There's an owl, there's bats. It's beautifully done, and one of the most disappointing things that's ever happened is that they got really far into working on a movie for this. I can't remember who the studio was that was doing it, but like there's test footage, and I'm going to put it on screen. I remember seeing something about it, and it got canceled, and it was fucked up because they were like already animating things. And I hope to God that someday they continue working on this because it's amazing. It's one of my favorite worlds to lose myself in. A few months ago, I started following David Peterson on Twitter, and it's really, really great to see his new art come out as he works on it, and him talking about Mouse Guard and stuff like that. So I love this world to death. It's so good. Let's do this pile over here. It's Sherlock Bones. I believe my friend Paul sent this to me. Paul Star, hi. Thank you very much. I think this was a birthday present, and it's about a dog that is Sherlock Holmes. Look at this motherfucker right here. He's got a pipe. I don't know what's up with his hair, but it's really, really, really cute. Oh, look at this. This is the money shot. Look at this motherfucker. This is beautiful. It's Sherlock Holmes, but he's a dog. And the human is Watson. How can you go wrong with that? Sherlock Bones. Thank you, Paul. My partner Brian had a pretty severe GI thing happened a few years ago that he is pretty much all recovered from, though he is missing some of his inside parts. And after it happened, I made him this photo book of the hospital stuff called That One Time That You Nearly Died. Yeah, I just like to be able to sort of put memories together like this. And I'm going to tear up if I keep looking at this. And that brings us to the last pile over here. Credo Street Station is one of my favorite books in the entire world. This is about a sort of like fantasy steampunk universe, which is expertly created, and it's being terrorized by these things called the slake moths, which have a very peculiar power to eat dreams. And I know that sounds really cheesy, but it's a very dark novel, and it's one of my favorite things in the world. China Melville in general is one of my favorite science fiction authors. He also did Embassy Town, which is one of the most interesting comments on language and thought of language. And I remember Brian and I both read it before we went to Japan, and then when we were in Japan, sort of not being able to speak any languages at all that were pertinent to the situation, we spent a bunch of time drinking and talking about Embassy Town. And yeah, I just really, really, really like China Melville, and particularly this book. If you're going to start with a China Melville book, Credo Street Station is my recommendation for sure. Undertown is a really cool graphic novel by an artist who used to go by Green Monkey. I don't think he does here. Jake Myler, I think is his real name. Anyways, he did the art. And this is a weird thing because not only is it a really cool sort of high fantasy thing with really cool characters, but this artist was a big part of my past in terms of another group of people that I used to hang out with. And it was just really cool to see him actually come out with something this cool and like different than what was going on at the time. I just pulled it because it's sort of unique, and I don't know if a lot of people who knew who Green Monkey was will know about this, but I recommend checking it out if you know anything about that world. It's really, really cool. I hope that all y'all are doing well with yourselves right now. I know it's a weird time. I hope that you're finding ways to stay sane. I know a lot of you are baking for the first time, and that's awesome. I hope your breads rise well. I hope you're making music if that's what you want to do, and I hope that you're doing nothing and feeling okay with it if that's what you want to do. There is absolutely no reason that you need to be doing anything right now other than getting through this. So fuck anyone who is telling you that you gotta hustle and find new hobbies and blah, blah, blah. You're welcome to do that if you want. You don't have to. Like I said, I've got this MC707 over here, and it's really hard for me to figure out a way to concentrate on it right now with what's going on. I just can't really slot my brain into that mode right now. Take care of yourself. Maybe find a new book to read. Maybe find an old book to read. I don't know. Just take care of yourself, and hopefully not too long from now, this will be a weird video that we can look back on and be like, yeah, I remember that happened, that thing. Anyways, my name's Jeremy. This is Red Means Recording. I love y'all, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.